All right, so get this. Imagine a country that figured out how to turn its geography into basically a money-making machine.
Uh-huh.
We're talking about Norway, and in this deep dive, we're going to uncover how they did it.
Yeah.
Think Vikings fjords and for what I'm economic savvy.
Right.
We'll be looking at their surprising economic history,
Mhm.
how they've tackled both fossil fuels and renewable energy, and what lessons we can learn from their journey.
It's fascinating how we often think of wealth, in terms of fertile land and resources, right?
Yeah,
But Norway's story really challenges that assumption.
it does.
Their success stems from a unique blend of, geography, smart policies, and a long-term vision.
Right, it's like they looked at their rugged terrain and limited farmland, and they were like, challenge accepted.
Exactly.
So let's rewind a bit. Before oil became a factor, what was driving Norway's economy?
Well, their history is deeply intertwined with the sea. Think back to the Vikings
Oh, yeah.
and their mastery of shipbuilding and navigation. That seafaring tradition continued through the centuries, and by the 20th century, Norway had the fourth largest merchant fleet in the world.
Wow, so they were already a maritime powerhouse before oil entered the picture,
Hmm.
but how did that translate into economic success?
It's all about adaptation and leveraging their strengths. During the age of sail, Norway's vast forests were a gold mine for timber.
Okay.
Their fjords, those deep inlets, weren't barriers, but rather highways for transporting lumber. This made them a key player in European trade for centuries, and their maritime expertise didn't stop there.
Okay, so they were shipping lumber all over Europe. What's next in this economic saga?
Well, this constant interaction with the sea and the need to work together, in often harsh conditions, fostered a strong culture of cooperation in Norway.
Mm-hmm.
Small, scattered communities had to rely on each other to build ships, share ownership and distribute wealth. This cooperative spirit had a ripple effect on their social and political structures.
That's really interesting. So are you saying that their early economic activities actually shaped their approach to governance and social welfare?
Absolutely. It laid the groundwork for their comparatively egalitarian society.
Wow.
Their emphasis on communal ownership of resources and their strong democratic institutions, it's a stark contrast to many other countries where resource wealth often leads to increased inequality.
Right.
Yeah.
So their history at sea actually planted the seeds for their future economic and social success. But there's another key ingredient in Norway's infinite money glitch,
Mm.
right? Hydropower. Didn't they basically become the electric pioneers of Europe?
That's right. Norway is a land of mountains, rivers, and abundant rainfall. They recognized the potential of hydropower early on and became pioneers in harnessing this renewable energy source. By 1920, they were consuming more electricity per capita than any other country in the world.
95% of their electricity from hydropower. That's incredible.
Mhm.
But didn't they put all their energy eggs in one basket? What happens if the rain stops or the rivers dry up?
That's a valid concern. Relying heavily on a single energy source does come with risks, but Norway's early investment in hydropower was a strategic move.
Oh,
It laid the foundation for their energy independence and later allowed them to export oil and gas while using renewables domestically.
okay, so they weren't just generating electricity, they were building a strategic advantage. They recognized the value of their resources and planned for the long term. That seems to be a recurring theme in Norway's story.
Exactly. They have this remarkable ability to turn challenges into opportunities. They took their knowledge of hydropower and applied it to oil and gas exploration, and we'll dive into that part of the story next.
Awesome. Can't wait.
And speaking of oil and gas, that brings us to the discovery that changed everything for Norway.
Okay.
Christmas Eve, 1969, the Ekofisk oil field, one of the largest offshore discoveries ever, was found.
Talk about a Christmas present. But I imagine managing this sudden influx of wealth brought its own set of challenges. How did Norway avoid the pitfalls that often plague other oil-rich nations?
They learned from their experience with hydropower. They understood the importance of national control and long-term planning. Instead of letting foreign companies dictate the terms they established, Statoil, a state-owned oil company.
So they were determined to manage this resource for the benefit of the entire nation, not just a select few. What impact did that decision have?
It was a game changer. It allowed them to channel the oil wealth into a sovereign wealth fund, the largest in the world today.
Wow.
It's currently worth over $1.5 trillion, owning 1.5% of all publicly traded companies worldwide.
That's wild. What are they doing with all that wealth?
Instead of squandering it on short-term gains, they're investing it for the future. They're using it to support social programs, infrastructure development, and research and innovation. And they're also thinking about the long-term sustainability of their economy.
So they're not just drilling for oil, they're drilling for a better future. But we're living in a world that's rapidly shifting away from fossil fuels. How is Norway navigating that transition?
They're actually in a remarkably strong position. They've been strategically investing in renewable energy for decades, and their hydropower infrastructure gives them a head start, but they're not stopping there.
What else are they doing?
They're leveraging their expertise in offshore technology honed in the oil and gas industry to become a leader in offshore wind power. And with their vast hydroelectric resources already in place, they're well on their way to a 100% renewable electricity grid.
So they're taking the knowledge and skills they developed in one energy sector and applying it to another. It's like they're always thinking a few steps ahead, but it's not just about domestic energy, is it? Norway is also playing a key role in Europe's energy security.
Absolutely. As Europe seeks to reduce its reliance on Russia, Norway has become a vital supplier of oil and gas. Their pipelines and infrastructure are crucial for ensuring energy stability in the region.
It's interesting how their geography, which once seemed like a limitation, is now a strategic asset. But there's another fascinating aspect to Norway's resource portfolio that we haven't touched on yet, their recent discovery of the world's largest phosphate deposit.
Right, and this discovery has implications far beyond just Norway. Phosphate is a crucial ingredient in fertilizer, and Norway's find could potentially reshape global food security.
So they're not just an energy powerhouse, they're a potential agricultural powerhouse as well.
Exactly, and it's not just about the quantity of phosphate. Norway's deposit is also remarkably pure, which means it requires less processing and has a lower environmental impact.
Okay, I'm seeing a pattern here. They identify a resource, figure out how to use it wisely and sustainably, and then leverage it for national and global benefit. But hold on, didn't you mention something about this phosphate deposit containing other valuable minerals?
You're right. In addition to phosphate, the deposit also contains significant amounts of titanium and vanadium metals that are crucial for a wide range of industries, from aerospace and defense to renewable energy and electronics.
So they've stumbled upon a treasure trove of resources at a time when the world is desperately seeking alternatives to China's dominance in these critical materials. This is huge, but with great power comes great responsibility. How is Norway approaching the development of these resources?
Yeah, it seems like Norway's got the Midas touch when it comes to resources, but this time it's not just about economic gain, right?
Right.
It's about global security and sustainability. How are they navigating the complexities of developing these resources responsibly, especially with like the whole world watching?
Well, Norway has a long history of managing its resources with a focus on long-term sustainability and societal well-being.
Right.
They've shown a commitment to environmental protection and stakeholder engagement.
Yeah.
So, it's likely they'll approach this new venture with the same careful consideration.
Yeah, that's reassuring to hear. But let's talk about the geopolitical implications of this discovery. You mentioned that these minerals, particularly titanium and vanadium, are currently dominated by China. How could Norway's entry into this market shift the balance of power? It's potentially a significant development.
Right.
China's dominance in these critical materials has given them considerable leverage on the global stage.
For sure.
Norway's ability to provide an alternative source could reduce reliance on China and create a more diversified and resilient supply chain.
So Norway's not just securing its own future, it's potentially bolstering the strategic autonomy of Europe and the West as a whole. It's like they're playing 4D chess while everyone else is stuck in checkers.
That's a great analogy. Norway's strategic foresight and willingness to invest in key sectors have certainly positioned them as a major player in the global arena.
But it's not just about resources, it's about the values and principles that guide their actions. They've consistently demonstrated a commitment to transparency, environmental stewardship, and social responsibility.
Absolutely. Their success is as much about their values as it is about their resources. They've managed to create a model of economic prosperity that doesn't come at the expense of their environment or their people.
And that's what makes Norway's story so compelling. It's a reminder that economic growth and social progress can go hand in hand.
Yeah.
They've managed to harness their resources,
Yeah.
their geography, and their values to create a truly remarkable society.
It's a fascinating case study in sustainable development and strategic thinking, and it offers valuable lessons for other nations, particularly those grappling with the challenges of managing resource wealth and navigating a rapidly changing global landscape.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Norway's incredible journey, it's clear that they've cracked the code not to an infinite money glitch,
Right.
but to a sustainable and prosperous future. They've shown that with careful planning, long-term thinking, and a commitment to shared values, It's possible to create a society that thrives both economically and socially.
And as the world faces increasingly complex challenges from climate change to resource scarcity and geopolitical instability, Norway's example offers a beacon of hope, a reminder that it is possible to build a better future, one where economic prosperity and social well-being go hand in hand.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Norway's inspiring story. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and perhaps even a bit of inspiration for how we can all contribute to building a more sustainable and equitable world. Until next time, keep those minds curious and those hearts open to the possibilities.